PE students. So as we mentioned last week, your PE and your sport classes this term, during the remote learning at least, they're going to be different. And the focus for PE classes, as has already been introduced to you, but I just wanted to remind you, it's all about fitness. It's all about, as we've mentioned, huffing and puffing, sweating, getting up, getting moving, getting active. And then when we change our focus in the sport classes, we're talking about skills, fundamental movement skills at the moment, and then transferring that into sport-specific skills. So throughout the week, you're going to be doing both fitness and skills. And in this fitness session for your PE classes, we're actually getting you to start thinking about how active are you being? So what we did last time we were in remote learning was ask you to keep a log, a diary. What are you actually doing? And one of the questions in there was about how intense was the workout? Was it low intensity, moderate intensity, vigorous intensity? As you work your way up in your learnings and understandings of physical education, you're going to understand that heart rate is one of the best indicators to tell us the intensity of any type of physical activity, exercise, or movement that you're completing. So if you've got a smartwatch and you can get it to measure your heart rate for you, fantastic. Use it today. Why not embrace the technology? If you're somebody who doesn't manage to have that, what we would like to ask you to do is to manually measure your heart rate today. So there's two ways in which you can do that. You can test it in the neck area and you can test it in your wrist. If you're testing it in the neck, it's away from the midline using the index and the middle finger and just pushing in. And what you're trying to do, you need to stop talking when you're doing this so you're not feeling strange vibrations of the windpipe. You're actually wanting to feel the blood flowing past the arteries, and every time you feel the blood pulsating past your fingers, that would be one beat of the heart. So see if you can find the pulse in your neck for a moment. And hopefully if you've found that one, that's great. You might be able to use that for today's session. But if you can't, then have a go at the wrist. Now the wrist needs to be on the thumb side of the wrist, not in the middle, up towards the thumb side. And again, we push in to see if we can feel the blood rushing past in those arteries. So once we've done that, have a feel for it. Make sure you keep your wrist steady so you're not feeling any movements in your wrist. When we actually measure our heart rate in either of those locations, we want to make sure, as I've said, we stop moving, we stop talking, and we actually count how many times we feel different pulses from our heart go past our fingers, and we actually count only for 15 seconds. Even though heart rate is a measure in beats per minute, we actually just want to measure for 15 seconds because throughout that minute, if we measured for a whole minute, our heart rate might be up and it actually goes down within that minute. And we want to know what is it right at this point. So I would find my heart rate, I would test 15 seconds, and then however many pulses I felt in those 15 seconds, I multiply that by 4 to calculate my beats per minute. So if I was to feel 25 pulses in the 15 seconds, I would say 25 multiplied by 4, that is 100 beats per minute. You're going to need that for today's session. If you have a look at the lesson plan in today's session, you'll notice that we've given you options. You need to complete 2 of those 5 options. Some of them are going to be slightly less intense than others, and you'll have a lower heart rate is what we're hoping, and others are actually going to be a little bit more intense, and you might have a higher heart rate during those sessions. So if you click on the ClickView link, it should take you directly to the video, and each of these videos varies from about 10 minutes to 15 minutes. You simply press play, listen to the instructor, follow on with the exercises that you're being given, just the same as you've done with a lot of the YouTube links so far. Now, we always like to collect our evidence that we've completed the session, and today we're looking at heart rate. So I would fill in a little table like this, which will be available for you on Compass to copy and paste if you'd like to use it. However, you can also take screenshots of your watch or your phone or any other measure you've used. So I will measure my heart rate before my session starts, and I will type in 60, beats per minute, if that's what the measurement was, into that section there. And then I might have done workout 1, which above workout 1 was engage your core. And 3 times throughout that workout, I would like to get a measure of what my heart rate is. So you can simply pause the video, time for 15 seconds, multiply by 4, and write your heart rate in there. Once you've done that for workout 1, have a little rest. Complete workout maybe 3 or 4 or 5 and test your heart rate 3 times and make sure you write it in each of those boxes for us. And then we just want to have a little bit of a go at what do you think you could do with the 2 workouts that you've completed to try and get your heart rate to raise either higher or quicker during the session. And also find out a short description from yourself about any of the differences you found between workout 1 and workout 3 or whatever your 2 selections were, and just type them down here below. Once you've sent those to your teacher, that will be plenty for today's session. 2 workouts, measure your heart rate before and 3 times during each, and write your quick little thoughts about what's going on with your heart rate as you look at those numbers either go up or down. And we are going to take this further next week when we continue on with some more fitness stuff in our PE classes and really starting to learn what's our body doing during these exercises. Hope you enjoyed today's session.